Hi, I'm Nino Gonzalez, and welcome to another episode of Making Sense. Well, today I have a guest, and her name is Rose Beard. And
Rose Beard, how are
thank
you?
you very much for being on the show and taking time out of your busy schedule to come talk about yourself and your business. And tell me a little bit about yourself and about your business and how you got started.
Well, I was born and raised here in El Paso, and my husband, he's the one that started it back
Okay.
in 1974.
Wow. Okay.
And so far we've been here, well, since 1974, and he started the business, and it was just me and him. And then finally we hired an employee. So after maybe 2 years, and up to now, we're up to like 15 people.
Wow.
So
And what is the name of your business, and what is the service that you provide for the El Paso community?
Hirby Pest Control.
Okay.
And we serve all of New Mexico, all of Texas. And we do mainly insect, roaches. And then now we're licensed also for trees and lawns and weeds.
Oh, wow.
Mice
Okay.
control. Yeah, we do a lot of, services all.
Well, tell me, what made you get into the pest control business? And of course, there's licenses that are involved, correct?
Oh,
So you're
yes,
licensed both in Texas and
New
New
Mexico.
Mexico. Can you go a little bit on the process of that? What it takes to get your license and become a pest control company?
Okay, first of all, you have to work a year with a pest control company.
Okay.
And you're working as an apprentice. After a year, you can register with Austin, and then you pass tests, and then you become a technician.
Okay.
After a technician, then you can apply for a CA license, which is a certified applicator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it does take a process, and you do have to pass a lot of tests.
Okay. And after that, is there other licenses?
Oh, yeah.
What
The
other
first one
ones?
you pass, of course, is your laws and regulations,
Right.
which is very important. If you don't know your laws and regs, what you're doing, then you can't go forward to the next test. Then your next one will be your pest control, what
Right.
you want to do in the industry, mice, and that'll include mice, roaches, ants, spiders.
Bed bugs?
Bed bugs, which we have
Okay.
a lot of right now.
Really? Okay. And what does it involve? The knowledge, like the different pesticides or formulations
Oh,
to
yeah.
use? Yes.
Yeah, you need to know your formulations, what pesticides are restricted, which ones will be, you can use. You need to know your percentages of what you're using.
Right.
And for what insect, you just can't use the same pesticide for everything.
And I guess also for the area that you're using it, correct?
yes,
Whether it's residential and what type of, whether it's maybe a business or healthcare or
Oh, yeah.
apartment buildings, or if there's elderly people or children,
Children.
or pets,
Yeah.
or
So we're
correct?
licensed for restaurants and, like you say, elderly facilities, child care centers, hospitals. And then you have of course, your residential. If they have pets, they don't have pets. It's just
So
a
you
lot
you
of
tailor the service based on
customer.
each customer and what is their needs and what is it that also what they can tolerate, because I've heard that a lot of people can't tolerate sometimes the chemicals that
Yeah.
are being sprayed, correct?
Yeah, a lot of them are allergic to either, or asthma, or, they can't really. We try not to spray if they say, well, I'm allergic or I
Right.
have asthma, or we do have some, non-smelling chemicals, but of course those are more expensive,
Right. And tell me a little bit about women in the pest control industry. I hear that you're one of the very few that are licensed, correct?
Oh, yeah, very few. I'm even licensed in New Mexico, which a lot of the men in the pest control are not. They're just licensed here
Wow.
for Texas.
Okay.
And I think there was 3.7 at the last meeting that we had in Texas. of
3.7%.
Yeah,
Wow.
of women in the pest control business. Very few.
Very few.
Yeah.
So it's mostly male dominated. And have you felt, you said you started the company with your husband, but being a woman in this type of male dominated industry, have you found any type of, sort of, I guess, barriers or
Oh, yes.
frustration getting clients or things like that?
Well, since we've been here so long, mainly our business is referral.
Right.
You know, we've been doing their mothers and then, or their grandmothers' mothers, and then now their kids, and now their kids' kids. So we've got generation after generation that just, hey, you know, you used to do my grandma, I want to do the
Right.
service, or you used to do my mom, or you do my uncle,
Okay.
you know. And so, you know, we've been, and then when my husband passed away, I had to take all the
Right.
licensing and tests. I was given a 6-month hardship license. And they told me, okay, if you don't pass your test in 6 months, you're going to have to close it down.
Wow.
And, you know, I had families depending on me that had been with me 10, 20 years.
Sure.
And I thought, oh, God. So, yeah, I went and I took my tests in Texas and I passed. And then I thought, I can do pest control, so then I can do termite testing and weeds and lawns and trees. So.
Well, congratulations on that accomplishment. And, you know, I've always wondered, is there a difference between pest control and an exterminator, or are there terms that are used synonymously?
No,
or
it's just terms that are used.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing, you know, because you see all these TV shows sometimes like
Yeah.
Extreme Exterminator and things
Yeah.
like that, and they go into barns and pull out all these snakes and animals and all of that.
Raccoons.
Or
and-
raccoons.
Yeah, all those-
So you don't deal with that here in El Paso.
No,
Not
no.
even in the farming community
In a kind
out
of
there.
mammal. You can have a license for that, and but you know that's a different.
Right.
yeah.
I guess you would specialize in that, correct?
Yeah, it'd be a
Especially
specialization.
in the rural areas, correct? Where
The only-
that might be more prevalent.
Yeah, the only term that would be different would be your fumigators. Now,
Okay.
fumigators, those are different because they use gases
Oh wow.
that fumigate, and those are very dangerous unless you know you better be really.
Oh, so there is.
Yeah,
So there's
fumigation is
there's
different.
different things.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, trucks come in, say from out of town, and you know they're bringing in fruits. The border doesn't let them cross them.
Right.
They call a fumigator. Now that's a different. They tarp their trailers. They fumigate for insects that you know might come across.
And so, what are some of the things that we see here in El Paso as far as pests?
Right now, a lot of bed bugs.
Okay, bed
yeah,
bugs.
we've got.
Why is there, you know, so much research in these bed bugs? And you know, I've heard even from nice hotels, you know, having those problems and things like that. Why?
Your 5-star hotels also have them, and your restaurants,
Right.
everywhere. You know, mainly they travel.
Okay.
Say you go out of town, you stay in a hotel, you bring them back in your suitcase and your
Right.
clothes and your
You lay your
shirts.
clothes on the bed or whatever, and
Yeah.
they get on there, right?
So I always recommend before you go anywhere, you know, you stay in the beds, just pick up the sheets, check all the seams of the mattresses, make
Are
sure
they,
there's no
are
bed
they
bugs.
pretty visible?
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can see them. They're about the size of maybe an apple seed, or yeah, about the size of an apple
So
seed.
that's usually how we
Yeah.
get bed bugs into the home.
Yes.
Right.
Or you bring somebody that stays with you, and they have them. They leave them there, and then they go somewhere else.
Oh,
and
my
it
goodness.
just spreads out.
And
It's a big
and
epidemic
how
right
fast
now.
do they spread?
It's just they multiply like, say, right now you might have just 2 or 3.
Right.
Within a week you could have 300, 600,
goodness.
thousands and thousands. Yeah.
And so what is the recommendation? You know, you said, of course, make sure if you're staying even at a friend's or family house,
Oh,
right?
yes.
You know, or you're staying at a hotel, you got on vacation, or you stay at a hotel or on a business trip, to
Yeah.
check the mattresses.
Oh yeah,
That's-
mainly
that's the best
your,
thing.
Yeah.
So,
As-
so let's say I'm going to a hotel, pull the sheets off, check the seams.
Check the seams
Underneath?
right away. Don't put your suitcases on the floor yet.
Okay.
You know, on the chairs or in the bathroom where there's tile and all that.
Right.
Yeah, because they hide. And if there's carpet,
That's worse.
A good haven for
Oh
bed
my
bugs.
goodness.
Yeah.
And is it good to also pull the mattress up and check underneath?
Yes. The also your what is it? Your frame.
The skirt
Yeah.
that goes around.
Because you have the mattress and then you have your box spring. Yeah.
Right.
Check that, and of course sheets, pillows, everything you can think of. I check everything. Nightstand. I have my little flashlight checking everything.
Because I'm sure you've seen bat infestations, correct?
Oh yeah.
And so, what can bed bugs do to you?
They
They,
really
of course,
carry,
bite you, right?
yeah, they bite you. They carry no diseases. They
Okay.
haven't found them to carry any diseases. But it's just I think it's more mental that you're sleeping and they're biting you all over.
Okay.
And they come out, they have, you can see the 3 little spots where they come out for
Oh, my
breakfast,
goodness.
lunch, and dinner. And then you start itching and you scratch and you start itching.
And then it's just like when you feel something crawling on you, even if it's not.
yeah, you start
Yeah,
shaking them
you
off.
start
and-
shaking them off, and I don't think you can get a good night's
Yeah.
sleep. Okay, so what's the term of treatment? Do you have to get rid of the mattresses, or what is it that you do?
Well, see, that's what a lot of people do. They call us and they say, well, I got rid of my mattress. I got rid of everything, so I don't have any more
But when
bed
you move
bugs.
them, they fall, right?
Yeah, and then they throw it in the sidewalk, and guess what? Somebody drives by, picks it up, takes it home, and take the bed bugs with
Right.
them, So.
But also as you're moving them, they
Oh, yeah.
they can drop into
They
the carpet
fall.
and whatever,
They're
right?
not just on the bed, they'll be on your nightstands. They're in your wall sockets, in your curtains.
Really?
They're in the baseboards. That's their
That's where
main
they like
place
to
where
hide.
they like to hide,
Right.
behind the baseboards.
Okay, so what is if I called you and I said, I have a bed bug infestation, what would you recommend I would do and you coming in?
Right away, you start washing everything in hot water.
Mm-hmm.
If you can bleach it, you add bleach, and then you sack everything that's clean. You dry it, of course, in high heats. I think it has to be over 120.
Wow.
High heats, dry it, sack it in black bags. Start vacuuming everything you can, and then after every spray we do, vacuum again. That way, make sure. Because the eggs, you really can't see them. They might be about this size. So those you
Very
can't even
small,
see because
right.
they're white. And then once they feed on you, then that's when they turn brown.
Oh my goodness.
So it's actually the blood. And that's the only thing they'll eat is blood. And then a lot of people, of course, oh, well, I brought my dog. He brought him with him. And they blame the poor dog.
Right.
Here they send
Because
the dog off
no,
to
because then
sleep or
that's also
something.
different than fleas, correct?
Yeah, but they always blame that it's the dog or.
And what type of bites have you seen on individuals, like really
Oh,
extensive,
yes.
like all over?
All over, yeah. And people, I don't know why they wait. Okay, if you see a few on your arm, right away check it. No, they wait until they're all their stomach, their
Oh my goodness.
legs, everything's bitten.
And I'm sure it's a horrible feeling, and the itching
Yes.
sensation and all of that. And
Yes. We had a seminar and they asked us, do you want a bed bug, to bite you? So this teacher that was teaching us that seminar, he took them out of his little bottles and he would put them on you. You don't feel anything because they
But
have
not
kind of
until
like an
afterwards,
anesthesia.
right.
Yeah. They drop this anesthesia on your skin. And then when they bite you, well, you don't even
won't
feel
feel
them.
it.
So when you're asleep,
and then you start feeling that when it wears off, sort of,
Yeah.
you'll start itching,
You
and it'll
start
start to grow.
itching.
What do they look like welts or?
yeah, like little
Like
welts, just like a mosquito bite.
like a mosquito
yeah,
bite.
So a lot of
Wow.
people think, oh, just mosquito bites. And
Oh wow, we'll come back and talk more
I
about.
should have brought you some pictures
I
of
know,
them.
well, we'll come back and talk more about pests and hopefully get a good night's sleep tonight. You're not thinking about this on the second half of Making Sense. So stay tuned. Well, welcome to the second half of Making Sense, and we're trying to make sense of this bedbug epidemic that we have here in El Paso. That you said it's been increasing, but while we were talking during the break, you said something
Yes.
interesting that we just think of bedbugs being in beds.
Right.
And transferring them maybe from a friend's house that you sleep in or a hotel, and you bring them home, or they get in on your suitcase, correct?
Right.
But you were saying that people that have bed bugs and then they go out of the house and they have them on their clothes,
Right.
they can transfer them. You said you've seen them on theater seats, correct?
Oh, yeah, the theater seats,
Restaurant seats, because then they
yes.
transfer off the clothing onto the seat,
Of
and then somebody
course.
comes and sits down, they transfer to you, and you take them home. You even said on the bus,
Oh, yeah.
and even in possibly also dressing rooms in stores where
Right.
people try on clothes where they could get transferred. I never thought about the concept of them transferring in those places, but
Oh, yeah.
that
very
is a
easily.
big eye opener. It's like, Now where do you go and be safe from bed bugs?
Nowhere.
I'm checking the back of this chair and see if there's
There's none there.
there's none there. So
Yeah.
what other pests do we deal with here in El Paso that are pretty common?
Right now at this time of the year, mice, because it's cold. They're trying to come in.
Right.
It's warm. They got to find food.
Right.
It's hard to find food right now that it's cold, so they're coming in.
And they squeeze through the tiniest of places,
yes,
correct?
Yeah. Oh, they
Right.
can squeeze, through under doors, anywhere.
And
anywhere you have holes.
and so what do you recommend to keep mice out of your home? I've always heard that, of course, never leave food out.
Right.
Make sure stuff in the pantry is sealed, and even if it's in boxes, they can chew through that.
Oh, yes.
But making sure that it's in an airtight container where they can't have access to it.
Right.
Wash your dishes, don't leave them hanging around, and
Food.
just proper hygiene, correct?
Right.
Is
For
that
mice,
some
yeah.
of some,
More
some of
proper
the
hygiene, yeah.
more of the common sense things to do,
Yes.
right? And of course,
Proper hygiene.
do cats help?
Sometimes, if the
Depends.
cat's hungry or, if he's not lazy, like
Depending
a
how-
regular
right.
house cat, they
They'll
just
just
want
see
to
it go,
play.
and it's
And,
like,
yeah.
right. And what cover any, I guess, gaps that you might have, correct, in the house?
Well, mice can chew right through your sheetrock. So if you do have holes, we recommend always stuffing it with steel wool.
Steel wool?
That
Okay.
they can't bite through. They'll
Okay.
bite through it, but of course they're going to get cut. But sheetrock, they can chew through everything. I mean,
Right.
they're
I've even heard, through wiring, correct?
wires. Sometimes we had a company that had wires, around the office. Their
Right.
computer wires were chewed, and then we had to take extensive measures to control them because, well, of course, every morning they came in, all their TVs would be off, their camera,
my
their
goodness.
computers.
And especially in office settings, where you have like community snack rooms or break rooms, and people might not be. Some people might be more cleaner than others, and but you'll always see traces of
Yeah.
mice because they leave their droppings, right?
Oh yeah,
You'll always know
that'd
that
be
you
an
have
easy
a
way to see them.
that you have a mice problem, correct?
Right, and then mice don't run around like in the middle. They'll mostly tend to be on your edges.
Right.
So they'll run from here to there and then back, just to where it's safe.
So tell me some of, I'd like to hear maybe one or two like really bad stories that you have of infestations
Of mice.
of mice or any type of bugs. Like, I hear that sometimes you pull walls out and there, you see bugs there and all this, roaches, insects.
Cockroaches are probably the worst infestations that you can find.
Right. Is there a difference between, we call the big ones what? Water bugs, and the
water
little
bugs,
ones,
yeah.
which are what
We've got the American, the German.
Right.
the-
Are
we've
the
got-
little ones the problem?
Yeah, the German roach.
The
That's
little,
the
like the
one.
blonde ones?
And those multiply quick in your
Okay.
kitchen. Yes. And then people don't take care of it. Then pretty soon, they've spread already into the kitchen, the bathrooms. They spread
And
into
they
the
also
living
leave
rooms.
droppings, correct?
Oh yeah, they do. You
like,
can see.
Right, like streaks.
Yeah, theirs is more like a pepper.
Right.
Like if you see, droppings are like pepper size. But if you see a whole bunch in an area, that's where the infestation
Oh my
is.
goodness. All right.
Yeah.
And so the difference between those and the ones that we usually think of being as roaches, the water bugs, those are not a
your
problem?
Orientals from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Those usually come through your sewers, your pipes, and you'll see them in the kitchen mostly, in your bathrooms.
And they
Sometimes
like
they
moist
come out of your
areas, correct?
bathroom. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they like moisture.
Okay.
And then around the outside, of course, you see them all.
And the other ones, where do they usually go through where there's food?
Yes.
Okay.
Your German will be in the kitchen, and they'll travel everywhere to get food. They can even go through a wall and go to the neighbors. If there's apartments,
Right.
they'll infest that one. They'll infest the next one, the next one.
And they go
so-
through outlets too, correct?
Oh yeah. Any little tiny hole.
And so what have you seen as the worst infestation? Like, do you actually have to take down walls? Like maybe tear down some parts of the sheetrock?
You do, because if you can't get to the source, I mean, how are you going to kill them? They'll keep
Right.
multiplying. So we have taken down walls, and we have foaming machines that we use. Then we foam the inside, kind of like your shaving cream foam,
Right.
It goes in there and it spreads. It kills all the cockroaches.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and you got to get rid, of course, of the ones carrying the eggs, because those are the ones that are gonna, just leave you with thousands of roaches after that. So.
And you see this all over the city. It's not just to specific areas of the city.
No, all over.
Right.
It's not just
I think a lot of it also comes down to common sense and hygiene and cleanliness of the space you live in, correct?
Yeah, cockroaches, yeah.
Especially, the trash and everything and food laying around, open containers, things like that.
Yeah, if you have dogs, don't leave the food out. Some people just put the food out and leave it there. And
especially for mice, some people
mice.
leave the bags of dog food laying on the back porch or in the garage, and
they'll chew right through it.
They'll chew right through it and eat it. They got to be locked up in plastic containers.
They love dog food, so they love anything you
right.
leave out.
Right. I also noticed that a lot, people that collect aluminum cans,
right.
especially the beer cans. I think roaches, like, especially the big water bugs, they love to get into the beer cans. I guess they like to have a little party.
Get a little drunk.
But yeah, I've noticed that on people that collect beer cans, they don't get to, with, of course, Coke cans, the ants, but I think those big water bugs, they especially like beer.
Oh yes, they do. I guess
just some things
and
too.
the smell, it's strong after a beer ages. Of course, the smell is strong, so it attracts them.
And okay, and how about termites here in El Paso?
Termites,
are they pretty strong, in this area?
A lot of people tell us that. Oh no, there's no termites in El Paso. It's too dry and this and that. No, we found termites everywhere.
How do you know if you have termites?
Usually you have to have an inspection. Mm-hmm. And most of the time people find them is when they go to remodel.
Okay.
They go to take down tile or remodel their kitchen or move something. And we had this lady, she took down books, and they were right behind her bookcase. She had never moved her bookcase, so they were right there eating, the backings of the books. And they eat that. You can find them everywhere in El Paso now.
So, and how do you get them?
Termites, they just swarm. It's just colonies that they swarm. It just, they might hit your house and not hit mine, and then might hit the next house and not hit this one. It's just when the colony gets too big, they get pushed out and they have to start another colony, so they move to the neighbor's house, and then the neighbors, they're so intelligent the way they work and spread and help each other, soldiers and the queen and it's very interesting.
And what changes, a lot of people, being environmentally conscious and the use of chemicals.
Right.
Do you also offer like safer alternatives as, with your company? Or
we offer it, but it really doesn't work.
Right.
And insecticides, of course, they have a bad rap because. But if your trees get sprayed and you wash your fruit and just take precautions.
Right.
It's okay. Because that's also, we do that too. We spray pecan trees, we feed them, we spray apricots, peach trees, we inject them and like right now we start.
So a lot of the newer, I guess, safer products, they don't work as effective, correct?
Well, no, because since they banned all the ones that were, that worked.
Right.
So now we're having to use, more safer methods, of course. And, there's a lot of IPM, which is a lot of, maybe different from going from insecticides to more, different kinds, organics or, something that's not going to be as dangerous.
Right. And how about ants?
Ants, those are very hard to control because, of course, you spray an ant hole here and then they tunnel and they come out here.
They come out there, right.
You just kind of have to be chasing them.
And then how come is it that sometimes they show up on your windowsills? That's pretty common, especially like when there's a lot of humidity or there's dryness and there's going to be some humidity.
They're probably trying to come into the house,
right.
for
and how do they
water.
How do
for
they
food.
get in? It's like.
Oh, well, ants are so tiny they can squeeze through
They'll
any
go
little
in through,
crack, any
yeah.
little cracks.
And then all of a sudden you see ants there, like
Yes.
in one of your windows or something like that.
Yeah, they might have tunneled from the outside down into your kitchen, and then they're tunneling, and you know those little ants are
Right.
all over your counters,
And or sometimes it's because, you know, one time it was because there was some, I guess, maple syrup there that hadn't been cleaned up, and I guess somehow they
that's their best.
located it.
That's the best. The sugars and the
The
cookies
sugars,
and the
spilled sodas and things like
everything sweet.
Right.
You'll find ants usually there,
that.
or if
how
you leave
about-
it long
And
enough.
how about the fire ants, the big ones? Those
Oh,
usually you don't see them.
No, they're not in your house, but yeah, if you get stung, you could get really sick, especially if you're allergic. Any
Right.
insect, if you're allergic, can cause death.
And also what I've seen is the flying ones, correct? The-
Flying ants?
Right. Or are they flying ants, or what are they?
No, not really.
What are
Well,
they?
people call them. Sometimes they say flying ants, flying cockroaches. It's how I guess like flying cockroaches. They really just glide. They don't
Okay.
really fly. They
But there's
can't.
some that have wings, no?
Yeah, they do.
Are they ants?
Those are maybe most of your carpenter ants do have wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those also can get into
Yes,
the house, correct?
Oh yeah, they'll come in through your house.
So what do you recommend for a homeowner, you know, to do to try and keep these pests out if they don't want to call a pest control company, and maybe, you know, you have this DIY, the do-it-yourselfers that want to
Right.
do it?
Well, they do. They go to the stores and they do buy their insecticides, but they're not licensed and they don't know, the measurements of how to use it. And then sometimes they wind up getting sick. And you
Right.
know.
Or what if I go, you know, and buy the premix container and spray it around the house? Will that help?
Well, it does help, yeah.
Right.
But it's like going to the drugstore and you want an aspirin. Okay, get it over the counter. But if you want something that's stronger, then you need a prescription.
Right.
And that's what we have to do.
Yeah, and sometimes, like you said, you know, you don't read the directions, or you
Right.
spray it when there's wind, and you don't wear a mask, you don't wear gloves, and
Yeah.
and a lot of those things can make you
They need to
sick
know
because
the
they can
wind, the
penetrate through
temperature. Yeah.
through the skin and get you ill.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's best, I guess, to leave it to the professionals. Why don't you give us your contact information? You know, how they can reach you in case
Okay.
people are interested in pest control services.
Okay, it's Hirby Pest Control. We're located at 3023 Pershing. We've been there since 1974 in the same location.
Okay.
And we're an accredited company with a Better Business Bureau. So if they need to check, the companies, it'd be best that they always go through the Better Business, check the company out.
And your phone number?
It's 566-8673.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this interesting topic, and I hope I can get some sleep tonight, and I'll be checking the back of this chair as soon as I get up. It was a pleasure talking to you,
Same here.
Rose,
Nice to have met
and
you.
we'll see you next time on another episode of Making Sense.
Thank you.
you.